No music, Rob?
We have crickets already.
Yeah, we just got crickets. Yeah.
It's on the payroll. It's okay.
I'm sorry, I ruined the show.
Nah,
I broke Midnight's
This is
Edge.
par for the course around here. Hey, everybody, how's it going? It's Hump Day. Welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. I am your narrative spleen, Mr. Wow. I'm your narrative spleen, Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo. With me, as always, Mr. Tom Connors.
Hello, everybody. The 41 people not watching Gary.
And joining us is actually somebody I've been wanting to talk to for a long time. Mr. Michael J. Crawford, the Anti-Trucker.
Hey, y'all, how you doing?
I'm your narrator, Rob Shlomo. With me as always, Mr. Tom Connors. This weird slapback here. Oh,
hello, everybody. Is that you?
There we go.
Someone's echoing.
Yeah, that was me. I forgot to mute. I forgot to mute the website there. And
Rob.
see, Becca gets her own theme song.
At least my music works.
We have the Demon YouTube, your favorite YouTube harpy, the one, the only, the Ninja Warrior Viking Mistress, award-winning chef, daytime Emmy Award winner, Miss Mecha Random.
More Emmys for writing than Star Trek Discovery. Or I should say just as many, right?
That's right, yes.
Oh, man.
So anyway, yeah. So the whole show is just going to be me introducing people. That's how absurd it's getting.
It's been
So
great. Have a great night, guys. I really enjoyed being here. Hopefully I can come on again. Oh, wait.
Thank you. Good night. So anyway, thank you everybody joining us. It's Wednesday. It's Hump Day. We got a couple super chats. We're going to get to that. Not a lot of news. We'll cover what we can. First of all, let's start with Bird of Prey, number 5, $2 super chat. Kapla! Well, kapla right back at you. Thomas Potts, $1.99 super chat. So, no message, but thank you for the super chat, sir.
The Anti-Trucker is only slightly crazy.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, actually, 1066. Yes, we won team trivia, and one of the guys on our trivia team almost started a fight with a couple patrons at a bar, who were being loud and being. Listen, people come to the bar. Anti-Trucker, you ever played pub trivia?
Only a couple of times, but yes.
Well, you know how it gets. People are there playing the game, and there's people there who are not, and they're just patronizing the bar. And because everything's set over a loudspeaker, a PA system, everybody's competing for volume. Well, one of the guys decided to say a few words to a couple of the patrons who were actually being quite loud, and I'm like, just drop it and go, And so there was almost an altercation. A couple of words were exchanged, F off, and. Hopefully we won't be seeing those guys again because I really don't want to get into a fight with anybody over that. So that's how my night ended last night. So anyway,
One more super chat.
Mr. Wolverine 007. Yay, Anti-Trucker is here.
Look at that. I've already made you guys money, so I'm happy.
That's right.
Although you guys, now I know that Thomas, Bird of Prey, and Mr. Wolverine all are usually regular attendees of my live streams. You guys, this is not my live stream, so stop giving them my money.
Yeah, I don't benefit over here either.
Mecha learned a long time ago. You shut up and let us have the money. No, all right. It's like somebody asked me earlier, how do I get Andre to do his Mickey impression at my cousin's birthday party? I said, pay me.
Ha, ha. That's his Mickey version. Ha, ha.
What say you? Ha, ha.
Ha, ha.
That's your Mickey Mouse impersonation?
That's Andre's.
Yeah.
You do a pretty good one, though.
When I think about him doing a Mickey Mouse imitation, I kind of think it would be like, ho, ho, ho. Now I have a machine gun.
Yeah, he should play Hans Gruber.
He absolutely should.
Oh, in the remake?
What was that you said to me? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Well, we got another $2 super chat from Bird of Prey 5. These dollars won't go to anti-trekker, LOL.
Thanks, Bird.
No, we've been wanting to have Anti-Trekker on for a while, so it's good to have Mike on here. Even though we didn't have any Trek news today, that was my only downfall. I was like, we don't have anything Trek to talk about, but we do have some other stuff to talk about. And he's like, I'm a old school comic book fan, so
I'm a nerd through and through. So it's like, yes, I talk about Trek more than any other topic, but I still, I love comics. I love almost anything nerd community related. And yes, I'm going to probably have to see Terminator Dark Fate. But yeah.
Well, I think we all are stuck doing that.
Yeah, that's going to be painful.
I seem to be able to weasel out of going to a lot of movies. So.
That's because you just don't go.
Actually, I got to say, this year has been a great cost-saving year because there have not been any movies to go see. I mean, honestly, I have not seen a movie since Far From Home, and I don't feel bad. It's just been a dry year for movies, and I guess,
Well, speaking of dry years, I mean, we just the Joker trailer dropped. So this is what they call the final Joker trailer. All right, I watched the Joker trailer. I am not a fan. Let's just start there. Tom, your take on the Joker trailer?
I love the Joker as a character. I told people they were going to do this a long time ago, and they're like, "Oh yeah, whatever." They're trying to make the Joker into an anti-hero who's sympathetic, who's a victim, who's all these things that I don't want to know or care about the Joker. He's supposed to be this psychotic clown killer who we're not supposed to empathize, sympathize, care about, or even relate to in any real way. But that's
you, Thomas, but only in an appropriate way.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch you there. Oh, wait, I did. I mean, some people say it looks awesome. I mean, it would look awesome if it was a Martin Scorsese movie that wasn't about the Joker.
Yeah.
But I don't want a Joker that's sympathetic and I care about him and he's he's a victim and he's just a sad sap who finds his new voice through the Joker. It just, to me, is just, I don't want to know the Joker's past. That's what I loved about Dark Knight. And I cringed the first time the Joker started telling his backstory in The Dark Knight. I'm like, oh, no, don't do this. And then when he's told that second story, I'm like, oh, good. He's just fucking with us. Because that first time I saw it, I didn't know that's what his, thing was. I'm like, oh, wow, they're really going to give him this stupid backstory,
Yep, they are.
Mecca?
So here's where you guys hate me and kick me off the show. No, I liked it, but, and I have to qualify this as a psychological study of somebody with a complete mental breakdown. My biggest problem with it, though, right? Okay, it shouldn't be a Joker movie. It should be any other like serial killer or mass murderer or whatever. Putting something like this in a superhero sort of universe is, I think, going to hurt it because you're probably not going to have a lot of CGI super fights and battles that a lot of people are going to want. And, you're going to appeal more to like the people like me who want to see a true crime sort of psychological study on somebody. Like, I don't see him as being sympathetic so much, I guess, unless you're, a sociopath yourself. I kind of see it as I don't see sane people rooting for the Joker so much, but I mean, you never know. They might be really, really trying to play it up like that. So I don't know.
I see it as him getting yelled at constantly. Robert De Niro puts him down. The one lady yells at him for making her kid laugh. Just all these little things for us to go, oh, poor Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't really feel sympathy though. I think maybe it's more for people to like put themselves in that like maybe it's more of a fantasy thing. Like, hey, here you can kind of put yourself in this and be the victim and have your little fantasy sort of thing. I don't know, maybe.
Anti-Tricker.
I don't sympathize with him though. But.
I gotta say this. So first of all, Mecca, no offense, but if you don't feel any sympathy for him in that trailer, you should probably seek help yourself. That's like
he's the Joker though. That's the thing. I'm like, yeah, but he's still the Joker, and he's still gonna.
No, he's not. That's the problem. This is not the Joker. This movie. This movie could be called, Killer Clown Not from Outer Space, right? This is this movie looks like a beautifully done movie. It looks like it's going to be an interesting movie, but it also looks like it's going to be a complete and utter insult to those of us that know and love anything from Batman comics that relates to the Joker, right? And that's the problem. It's one thing to take things in a little bit different direction, like in Avengers Endgame when we got Fat Thor. That's taking things in a different direction. It's another thing if we had a movie, like let's say the next Marvel movie with Thor was like a romantic comedy that was like exactly like The Notebook or something. It doesn't fit the genre at all. And I think this is just further proof that Warner Brothers has no freaking clue as to what they're doing. They just, as a studio, they're hopelessly lost.
Oh yeah, I agree there. That was kind of when I did my video on this. I said, yeah, people who like superhero stuff and who want the superhero movie going experience and fans of the genre and this character are probably not going to get what they want. This is more for for me, it's more for like the women who read true crime novels. Mm-hmm. And that's what it really, really feels like. It's somebody who wants to watch Dr. Phil, read true crime novels, watch the NCIS sort of shows. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's who it really feels like it's for.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not a Joker. And same thing with what Mike's saying there too. $5 from Joker 79. He would know. Joker is like the shape. The less you know about him, what made him a monster, the happier I am. That's what I was getting at. Yeah, it's like the more you start peeling back the layers of the onion and giving us, more and more about the character like this, especially a villain, the less scary they are. Look at Darth Vader. It was a perfect example.
Well, it's like they're not making him scary. That's for sure.
And the thing is that the one thing that's of all the different renditions of the Joker, with the slight exception of Cesar Romero, but that's kind of in its own world, is the thing that always defined the Joker has been his deformed face, right? That he has this smile, this inhuman smile on his face. And this Joker is just a guy in clown makeup. There is absolutely nothing remarkable about the character, and it's just watching him fall apart. And I'm sorry, if I want to watch someone's life be depressing, I'll just put a camera on myself all day. I mean, I don't need to watch that. I don't get jollies out of watching someone falling apart. I want to see a hero save the day, or at least attempt to. I don't go to films for, and I understand there's a place for, like, I do like movies that are of this flavor, like Seven, for example, I think is a great film. But Joker doesn't seem to have a hero character at all. It's just watching a guy disintegrate.
Well, he's kind of the anti-hero, it seems like, in the trailer. Yeah.
But it's this, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, this is worse, though. I mean, first of all, it just seems like this is a script they had lying around, and they plugged certain elements of the DC Comics mythos into it. All right, we'll make these changes. We'll make this guy the Joker. We'll make this guy Thomas Wayne. We'll make the New York into Gotham City, and it just seems like it's just following this trend that we can't have villains. We have to have victims. Everybody's a victim. Right. The Joker is a victim. He's misunderstood. He's been victimized, so that he's be sympathetic. And as Tom was saying, once you start peeling back that layers of that onion, Dan Harmon once said there is no better way to ruin a character than to tell you his backstory. I don't want a Joker this big intricate backstory, especially if it's just another version of Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, let me to drive what you just said home. Think of it this way: until the fourth film produced in the franchise, there was no greater villain than Darth Vader.
Yeah,
and then they decided to get into his backstory, and it fell apart.
Yeah, even him being the evil father was still scary enough. And there was a lot of people, like I remember I talked to Rob about this, and you might be old enough to remember this too, Mike. Like I said back in the day, I remember a lot of people didn't even think that Darth Vader was human. Like a lot of people are, he's not even human. He's got to be a robot or something, or he's a monster. He's not human. And then when everybody he said I'm your father, they're like, oh, he's lying. He's lying. There's no way he's that kid's father because he's not even human. It's like,
that was originally sort of like Darth Vader's hook. Like he's this inhuman thing behind a cloak, behind this black mask, and it's like there's a reason why we hated Sauron, because he was just this all-encompassing embodiment of evil. Same thing with Darth Vader. It's easy to hate something if that's inhuman.
Yeah, and we got a couple super chats. I thought I did the Deranged Lunatic one, but I think we missed it. $2 for a hump day. I don't know if I can still bring it up or not. It was a while ago. And then we had another $5 super chat.
Deranged Lunatic, it's hump day. $5 super chat. Black Phoenix. I've been saying this for months. They're making Joker too sympathetic. Everyone doesn't need to be tortured, have a tortured backstory. Some people are just a-holes. Yeah. Yeah,
that's kind of what I was saying too. Yeah, I mean,
we were talking about Chris Rock before the show. Remember when he goes, "Oh, they were abused, they were victims." And what about just crazy?
Yeah.
what happened to just crazy?
Yeah, well, that's the Joker. Yeah.
There's nothing, and this is something that I think Hollywood has really lost sight on. How about just evil? There is, how about just, Star Wars in particular, because, I know a lot of us have been really upset over what's happened with Star Wars lately, but Star Wars has always been at the core good versus evil, light side versus dark side. I mean, they make it as black and white as they possibly can, and now they're trying to make it all shades of gray with Kylo Ren and Rey, and is he really that bad? Is she really that good? And it's like, dude, you're missing the whole point. You're destroying your franchise because you think people want something that they don't.
Well, and it's a lot of this. Yeah, well, go ahead, Rob.
I was about to say, Star Wars recently they've pretty much turned the First Order into Cobra. They're a bunch of bumbling idiots. I mean, it's sad more than anything. But yeah, I mean, good versus, there's evil in the world. I mean, it has to be vanquished. That was at the root of Star Wars. That's at the root of just about every heroic story.
And think about this, because 10 years ago, if you and like I've been collecting comic books since the early 1970s, mostly Marvel, and if 10 years ago you said, who one of the most popular characters in cinema is going to be? Captain America. I would laugh at you so hard, because he is the cheesiest, do-goodiest character in the history of comics. And yet they showed, and in fact, I loved in the first Avengers when Captain America himself says, well, in the red, white, and blue kind of old-fashioned, and Coulson was like, well, what's going on? We need a little old-fashioned. Well, Hollywood needs to realize to take that line seriously. There is crap going on in the world. There are people going into schools and churches and doing horrible things, and all this stuff is going on. We need heroes. We need heroes to conquer the villains. We need that to inspire us as a society. We don't need for every freaking hero to be the person was saying in the chat, a dark, tortured individual that's just misunderstood. No. They're bad people. They need to be put down.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean. That's the thing with this is they make society and the Waynes, aka rich America, the cause for Joker to do what he does, and the fact that he's put down and victimized left and right, and it's like, yeah, I love the Killing Joke, but that backstory in the Killing Joke is the worst part of the story.
Right. And how much you want to bet that Robert De Niro? And don't get me wrong, I love Robert De Niro. It's kind of sad that he's in this movie, but I'm betting they're going to duplicate what was in The Dark Knight Returns with David Letterman. I think that Robert De Niro and his entire audience are going to get killed in this film.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah. Yeah, with sadly without Dr. Ruth in the audience though.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the thing. You know what they really should have done, honestly, as much as I love Robert De Niro, why the hell couldn't they get David Letterman? Pay David Letterman a couple $1 million, he'll do it. You know,
I gotta tell you, Pinhead's a GE. You're not Pinhead's a GE.
They probably paid De Niro more.
Yeah, and Dr. Ruth, I'm sure she'd do it.
I think they think they have the next Oscar movie, so they wanted to have some credible actors that the Academy is going to recognize, like De Niro and Joaquin Phoenix, and
Well, I think De Niro came on board when Scorsese was still producing, and now he's not producing it anymore. But and Captain Robert Apple brings up the original Batman, and I was thinking of that. I'm like, how much you want to bet at the end of this movie? There's a setup where we see the Waynes walk into a fucking alley, and Joker follows them in. Go to black.
Or better yet, you cut to black and you hear, "You ever dance with the devil by the pale moon?"
Or something to that effect. Yeah, even just as dumb, but yeah.
No, you'll see the pearls drop. That's what you'll see. You'll see the
or
pearls
you'll just
again.
hear it. You'll see black screen. You'll hear the pearls hit the ground.
Boom,
You'll
boom,
hear bang, bang,
and then
Yeah, and then they'll roll them over the opening credits or something cheesy to just in case you didn't get it, because there's no subtlety left in Hollywood.
No. Well,
I still think it's going to be an enjoyable movie, though. I think it's going to be a well-made, well-put together movie. I think I'm going to be distracted that it's a Joker movie, though, because I want to see.
Yeah, and
sometimes I want to see people break down and see what they do with it and where they go. I mean,
and that's the same problem I had with Child's Play. It was like, why make this Child's Play? Why didn't you make this its own thing? It would have been a great movie on its own. I'm going to feel the same way after this movie. It's like, yeah, it was a great movie, but it wasn't a great Joker movie.
Well, the thing is,
movie.
From what I see the trailers, I'll tell you what I have a feeling I'm going to say after I see that movie is I liked it better the first time I saw it when it was called Falling Down. You know, that's honestly,
I think that's why I'm liking this, because it reminds me of Falling Down, and I liked that. And I haven't seen something like that.
And I'm not saying, Falling Down was a good movie.
Yeah.
I really liked it, but it's just like a lot of people were talking about Wonder Woman when it came out. Oh, finally, look at this great. It's like, yeah, but it's it's Captain America with boobs.
That's exactly what my girlfriend at the time said when we walked out the theater.
It's the same damn movie and it's just, yes, it was well made. Sure, Wonder Woman's an enjoyable film. I didn't hate it or anything, but they could have gone for something a little different than Captain America, but I guess not. And so in this case, Scorsese, I guess, was having a fever dream while watching Falling Down, and he said, "Let's do the Joker." And then he realized what a bad move it was, and says, "I'm out of here." And they were like, "No, we're going to do it." So.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, it just seems everybody is trying to make these like multi-layered films drenched in irony.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's ironic you wouldn't think about the Joker this way. Everybody, I guess it's not rocket science, guys. Come on, let's get back to good and evil, please. There's nothing wrong with having a simple story of good versus evil,
and it could be a good movie, like we've all been saying. Even Mecca, like she was like really on board with it after seeing the trailer, but.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I get you guys' point that it's absolutely not a Joker movie. And I think that's going to be what's going to annoy me, though, is that, you're going to have a lot of people who don't quite understand what they're watching go out and probably like imitate or think that we're supposed to be rooting for the bad guys. I think that's one of the issues that I'm going to have with
I didn't want to go there, but you're kind of right, and I was worried about that too. We already had enough issues with people imitating the Joker shit. That one kid who gunned down the Dark Knight, or Dark Knight, was it Dark Knight Rises or the other one?
It was the third movie, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and it happened right in Colorado, didn't it, Mecca?
Oh, I saw Nemesis in that theater.
Yeah. So I mean, there you go. And in this, now you're making him an introvert who's being, chastised and put down and constantly belittled, and he's got every reason in the world, as far as somebody who's in that position could see, to carry out these horrific actions, which is what he's going to do. And basically then you're just going to put in somebody's head, oh, that's what I should do, because that's really what this is some kind of revenge porn. let's face it. Let's call it what this really is. If it was going to be a Joker movie, it shouldn't be shit that while you're watching it, you're like, yeah, get him, because that's what people are going to be doing during this movie. I can see it already.
Right.
It should be a horror movie, shouldn't it? Like, wouldn't you want to see this from like Blumhouse or something? Or,
exactly.
or
And that's the thing. Like,
Wes Craven back in the day.
Yeah. First of all, if you're going to do a Joker movie, mistake number one, you don't do a Joker movie. You do a Batman movie with Joker in it. But fine, you want to do a Joker movie. I think Mecca, you hit the nail. You make the Joker the killer in a horror film. But he's not the main character. You can call it Joker, just like you call when you think of Halloween, you think of Michael Myers, not Laurie Strode, right? But even though it's about Laurie Strode, well, you make the main character, whatever, a girl that's trying to get away. In fact, make it Harley Quinn, and she's being stalked by this crazy clown serial killer, and make it incredibly dark, incredibly scary. And then at the end of the film, when you think you've gotten rid of him, but he's really gotten away, like in every horror film, but then you start to have her thinking like him, and she starts
she starts to snap. That's how they should do that, instead of this fashion show Birds of Prey thing that they've got going on with Harley Quinn. And now we've got I don't know, and I think that because I am a horror fan, I think I can see a lot of the similarities, and I would probably watch it as like, okay, and I'm just watching like a pre-Freddy Krueger, like, okay, this I'm watching the guy before he gets burned while he's doing all the horrible stuff. I think that's what it's appealing to me on this stuff, right? So this is the guy before he does all this stuff, and that's fascinating to me. But I'm somebody, I think I can go out and not emulate that type of stuff. And you're absolutely right that a lot of people are going to do.
Well, not only that, like I said, I feel like it's going to justify it for him.
Yeah.
They're going to see that this guy's being treated this way, and then in the movie, the Joker's going to be treated like some social hero. You know that because we've already seen it with the crowd. They're all wearing the masks and stuff like that, and he smiles because he sees people wearing the mask because he's making an impact finally. And this is exactly how these people think, and you're feeding it to them. You're just feeding it to them on a spoon.
And people who are like, oh yeah, you should totally throw milkshakes at somebody with cement in them, and then not laugh, and then protect their accounts because they're the showrunner for Ms. Marvel and stuff like that. That's why I say a lot of people aren't going to get it.
Right. And the thing is that you'll hear the defense all the time that, well, movies don't make people do these things, right? The art does, which is true, that the existence of, the existence of a movie where a bunch of people get shot up or whatever doesn't cause people to go out and shoot people. But what it does do is, for certain individuals, it vindicates their thinking. And so
that's what I was getting to. Yeah.
Right. And so they're thinking, I've been thinking about doing these horrible things, but for whatever reason, I've been holding back. But look at this guy. This guy's a hero for doing exactly what I want. And so, yeah, I could absolutely see copycats from this movie coming out of the woodwork, just like we had with Heath Ledger. And, it's a shame because Hollywood, they need to stop glorifying evil. To be honest, they just need to stop with the whole idea that, look at even like, and I know one of our favorite topics of all, Star Trek Discovery, right? One of the biggest problems with Discovery is it's so bleak and dark and depressing. And then they wonder why people are bleak and dark and depressed all the time.
Or why we're so negative with it.
Right. Stop it's garbage in, garbage out. What people habitually expose themselves to does influence them over time. It's not the artist's fault that someone goes out and does something. But at the same time, if the entire industry is all obsessed with making things dark and gritty, don't be surprised that the world is becoming darker and grittier.
I've repeatedly said that eventually people are going to get burned out on this dark and gritty stuff. And part of it is the industry, but part of it I also put on the fans, because they are a lot of fans are convinced, a lot of moviegoers are convinced that if something is dark and gritty, then it's more mature.
Right.
Then it's edgy. It's more mature. Like I can't watch with the colorful guys in the bright underwear. I can't watch them. I need something dark and gritty.
I've got 2.8 billion arguments against that one. Just saying. You know, and that's the thing. People are hungry for good, honest hero villain stuff, but Hollywood ain't giving it to them. And that's why Avengers Endgame, you know, in a year that is going to set records for how bad the box office is, Avengers Endgame becomes the #1 movie of all time.
Well, not only that, Disney's going to end up with their biggest year ever. The company that's known for...
Well, they have the top 6 films.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, they're not only that, they're the company known for family-friendly, bright entertainment too.
Right.
So
Yeah.
People really are dying for something that's where the bad guys are bad and the heroes are stalwart and true. I mean, yeah, it's as hokey, as cheesy as that sounds. I mean, I think we really have a need for that kind of thing,
right? Where
there is, you know, good vanquishes evil. That you know, remember what Luke asked Yoda? He says, "Is the dark side stronger?" No. Quicker, more seductive, easier, more quicker, easier, more seductive. You know, and you know, like I said, you know, we need that. The reason why you thought Luke Skywalker was a hero because he was innately good.
But and the thing is that there's obviously a place for dark, gritty stories, right? You know, like Mecca was saying, horror movies, you know, are meant to be dark and gritty and scary, but they're also a subgenre, right? And you know, people, and the problem is and this is not just the movie industry, but like we saw it big time in the comics. In 1986 was the death of comics to me. And the death of comics came in the form of 2 of the best comics ever produced, Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns. They were both excellent stories, but guess what? They were both very dark, serious, gritty stories. And all of a sudden, the entire industry is like, oh, that's what people want. Let's make everything dark. And it just and now the comic book industry is all but gone, right? It's a dying industry at best. And the problem is that Batman is the exception that proves the rule. Batman is awesome as a dark, gritty character, but only if Superman exists in his universe.
Yes.
And so you can't, you know, and only if the rest of all the, you know, the heroes are supposed to be heroes. Batman is the odd man out. Batman is the one that all the other heroes look at and say, whoa, dude, what's your problem? And it's the same on the Marvel side. That's what in the 70s, that's what Wolverine and Daredevil were, right? And that they were on the Marvel side, they were the dark characters. Wolverine was constantly wanting to rip people to shreds with his claws, and the rest of the X-Men were constantly saying, whoa, dude, we're not murderers. Put your claws away. And that was actually a really good arc. But then, of course, in the X-Men movies, it's like, oh, let's just make it all about Wolverine killing people because that's what people like. You miss the point. If you think that what people like is the fact that Wolverine kills people, no, it's that Wolverine is there representing that anger, but the rest of the characters rein it in and say, no, there's a better way. And that's what being a hero is all a freaking about.
And you mentioned Daredevil. Actually, I have that. Hold on. What's this? Chris Persia, Rob, problem lies. That's where the problem lies. Always arguing about what good and evil is. And the hero's journey is no longer relevant to society, and society forcing nihilism. Yeah, there's a lot of nihilistic, a lot of nihilism in storytelling. But you mentioned Daredevil. I actually have all those, like Elektra, the Electric series. I mean, the Daredevil is still innately good, but there's that one when he drops Bullseye, and Bullseye's actually taunting him. You won't kill me. You won't kill me. You're the good guy. You're not gonna do it. And then he drops him and he cripples him. And then he's sitting over his bed with and say, I guess we're stuck with each other, Bullseye. And it's not so much the dropping of Bullseye, is that when Daredevil says we're stuck with each other, it's like, I need you to be the bad guy so I can be the good guy. Because without the evil, there's no reason for someone like Daredevil to exist. I mean, yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the whole idea of the good guy having that one bad day, as the Punisher told Daredevil in the you're just one bad day away from being me. But the whole reason why Daredevil exists and does what he does is because there is evil in the world. Nobody else can put it right. And Daredevil realizes, he goes, even though I nearly killed this man, he's the reason why I'm here. He's the reason why I'm doing this. Hold on. Hugo, $15 super. What's UYU? Help me out here. What's I don't recognize that currency. Well, there's 15 of it. So thank you very much, sir.
Uruguay peso.
Uruguay
I
peso.
was just about to get there. Yep.
Uruguayan. Sorry.
Or Homer Simpson would say, "You are gay." Oh no. We got nothing against it.
And YouTube shuts down this channel.
Yeah, right.
So,
okay. All right. Well, speaking of good versus evil and two sides of the coin, actually, that's a pretty good segue to the next story about.
Yeah, I
about
think we've beaten the Joker a lot more than I thought we were gonna.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot more mileage out of that than I thought. Yeah. Yeah. Blame the anti-tracker.
Well, it was a good combo.
It was. Yeah. Sony says they have quite a few Venom Spider-Man projects in the old hopper. Sony says it has 7 years of Marvel and Spider-Man movies mapped out. Here are the details. God help us all. And actually, that's a good point I always bring up about Venom. Venom only works if you have Spider-Man for him to be a mirror image of.
Yeah.
Well, they did do okay in this movie of making him Spider-Man-less, but now they're going to try and cram Spider-Man into that world, so it's kind of pointless that they went to all that trouble. Don't you think?
Yeah.
That's just me.
And by the way, one thing I do have to say real quick, Mr. Miles, you're a jerk. All right, go ahead.
Oh, tension from the anti-track.
Mr. Miles actually helps me edit my videos. He's a great guy, but he
I kind of figured
unsubs from my channel about every day. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Sony's the only studio besides Disney to own film rights to Marvel characters. A deal between Sony and Disney over the future Spider-Man movies appearances fell apart this week. Unless something changes, Marvel Studios will not be involved in the future of Spider-Man movies. Sony Pictures Television chairman Mike Hopkins told Variety in March that Sony has the next 7 or 8 years laid out for its Marvel universe.
Which goes to show you that Andre's editorial was probably correct, that Sony was never, ever going to extend that Spider-Man deal, even if Far From Home made $1 billion.
Mm-hmm. The franchise found new life last year with the success of Venom, which grossed $855 million worldwide. A deal between Sony and Disney about Spider-Man's future movie appearances has fallen apart. Unless something changes, Marvel Studios will not be involved in Spider-Man movies. Sony blamed Disney in a statement on Tuesday, saying that it was the Mouse House's decision for Marvel Studios President Kevin Feige to not be involved in future Spider-Man movies. Disney, which owns Marvel, absorbed Fox in a merger this year and now owns the film rights to former Fox-owned Marvel characters like X-Men and Fantastic Four. Sony owns the film rights to Spider-Man and 900 related. What? I keep reading that 900 related Marvel characters. I mean,
well, you got to figure there's every character that's a Spider-Man. I mean, Aunt May is a character, right?
Yeah.
And every member of his high school class, and so there's a lot of side characters besides the big ones like Venom and Black Cat and stuff.
I don't think we're getting an incredible Mr. Frump movie anytime soon, though.
I wouldn't bet on it.
That's a deep dive for people who anyway, Sony owns the film rights to characters and was basically lending the characters to Marvel Cinematic Universe while retaining distribution rights. Disney wanted 50-50 co-financing stake in the future Spider-Man movies, but Sony's Spider-Man franchise is the most lucrative. It didn't budge on its current deal. Sam Raimi's original trilogy alone made $2.5 billion worldwide just for inflation. A few years ago, Sony's Marvel Universe was on life support. 2014's Amazing Spider-Man 2. Okay, yada. Venom breathed new life into the Sony Universe of Marvel characters. Highest grossing film, yada. Okay, come on. Venom sequel. Okay. Venom sequel. It lines out. It's Venom, Morbius. They're going to be coming on a new Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse movie. Kraven the Hunter, Black Cat and Silver Sable, Silk, Jackpot, and Night Watch. Night Watch, which is just essentially Spawn, but with technology.
We got a couple super chats, Rob.
Yeah, Sinister Six and pretty much $5 from Nelson Sharetta. My two favorite comic book movies of all time are The Dark Knight and Guardians of the Galaxy. There should be enough room for both dark and light fun. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. Unfortunately, though, that's not how Hollywood thinks.
And then
How can we make this more like this other thing?
Mr. Miles is offering us his editing skills.
Don't offer; they'll take you up on it.
We might. I'm a little overworked.
I said I'd show up last year, and I've been here for a year. So.
It needs to be said. This one's from Joker's 79. Go ahead if you want to read it.
Joker 79. It needs to be said. Always, Denny O'Neil brought back the Dark Knight, not Frank Miller. Miller created borderline psychopath who he called Batman. That's true, yeah.
Well, The Dark Knight Returns, Batman was absolutely a psychopath. But that's what made it. It was an interesting story about a middle-aged man having a midlife crisis who used to be a superhero.
Yeah. And the sad thing is Frank Miller, I mean, that's probably not even Frank Miller's best work. I mean, Frank, that Wolverine limited series he wrote, that was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite Frank Miller work is the Wolverine 4-part series. That was freaking awesome. But yeah,
I bought those comics back in 1984 for $1 each.
Mm-hmm.
that was that. Now they're like worth over 100. I'm like, oh man, I wish I bought 2 of everything. But we had warned everyone that this was going to happen. And we keep saying it. We warned everybody that this was going to happen. Like, and they have a plan already. They had a plan.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Sony had a plan 8 years ago. Sony had it all mapped out, right? They had all the Sinister Six stuff laid out. They had the next 18 Spider-Man movies figured out. They had the Black Cat movies mapped out. They were going to do all this crap that they're talking about right now. This is just Sony rehashing the same plan that they had before, and they're probably going to fail just like they did before. Sony's biggest problem is that they don't understand how inept they are at handling a superhero universe. They think that what everybody wants is 17 carbon copies of Venom. Venom should be unique, but I have a feeling that we're going to see everything in the Sony-verse like Venom.
Mm-hmm. And don't count on Miles Morales coming in to save it. I mean, that's, yeah. I mean,
I'll tell you, the Morbius thing, that pisses, first of all, happen to have this here. Before you do Morbius, and I know that they're splitting with the MCU, but this has to come first right here. This Tomb of Dracula, number 10, the first appearance of Blade. All right. Blade, when he first showed up, was fighting Dracula himself. And you have that. Then you bring in other vampire characters. Mm-hmm. But, sorry.
I had said actually the plot for the next Spider-Man movie should be, Peter's in going to Empire University or NYU, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And then you have Michael Morbius there doing research, and then co-eds start turning up dead, and Peter has to try to find out why. There's your movie right there. Mm-hmm. Because you show a slightly more mature Peter Parker, and he's against a much stronger opponent in Michael Morbius. But the other thing too is the other thing we have to remember too is that this is all the plan that was laid out by Alex Kurtzman, and we know what that's worth.
My avatar.
Exactly. For the people who are saying, oh, well, maybe this is going to be the best thing that's going to happen because the MCU is about to go woke. No, it's not the best thing that's going to happen. They're going to fail miserably again. And I can't wait for them to fail.
And not only that, if you think that it's not going to go woke under Amy Pascal.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but as much as, first of all, I know that a lot of people are worried about the MCU going full on woke. And yes, that is a real danger right now, but it hasn't happened yet. But Sony, my God, you don't look at the freaking company. Look at what they've been producing. And it's going to be horrible.
Oh yeah, it's going to be horrible for sure. But it also hurts Disney.
Right, because
I'm kind of like, oh, how much do I hate Disney versus how much do I hate Ghostbusters 2016?
Just remember, they had their plans for a Sinister Six movie. They had Norman Osborn's head in a jar. frozen Norman Osborn's head in a jar. That's how bad their ideas are.
But no, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Just
yeah. Well,
I mean,
it's like
it worked on Futurama.
it certainly did.
So,
oh my God.
Well, I think everybody's forgetting that they wanted Spider-Man back, in the MCU where he belongs, and back with Marvel. I mean, the only rights that Marvel technically doesn't have over Spider-Man is the movie rights. That's it. That's all they really don't have. So I really hate all these articles that are like going out there saying, well, Sony owns the character anyway. No, they don't. They don't own shit.
they own the movie rights.
Yeah, I mean, basically when Disney bought Marvel, they bought a car without one of the tires. And one of those tires is sitting over at Sony, and Sony just, they let them use it for about a week to drive on, and then they came and took it back in the middle of the night.
Yep.
So now they're stuck with this car in the driveway without a tire. That's basically what happened here.
That's okay. They have Brie Larson to save us all, and Ms. Marvel now. So.
Oh my God.
I'm here.
It's gonna be fabulous. It's gonna be a great train wreck.
Peter Parker.
I don't need to prove anything to you. $5 from Captain Hare. Trek Tangent. Do you remember Fry and Futurama saying the world needs Star Trek to give people hope for the future? I think about that.
But it was set 800 years in the past.
That's true. Yeah.
That was what Leela said to that. So sorry. In fact, that's from the episode where no fan has gone before, which me and the wife watched like 2 days ago. So for like the 80th time.
I like what Thomas Potts here says. Just wait, Disney will buy Sony in 10 years. I heard a rumor that Sony actually offered to sell Spider-Man flat out, but they wanted like $10 billion. Sony, you're on crack. There's no way Spider-Man's worth $10 billion. The entire Star Wars galaxy was sold for $4 billion. So let's start there. Right. At best, since, and this is the other argument you can make. Here's the problem. The only reason Spider-Man's even worth probably about $2.5 to $3 billion right now is because Disney made it $1 billion property at the theaters. That's why.
And the genius casting of Tom Holland.
Because if you want to go back to when Amazing Spider-Man 2, the level of what you could probably, what it would actually have been worth at that point, you could have probably walked away with the rights to Spider-Man for a cool $1.5 billion easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that Sony is just, the problem is that Marvel, Marvel Studios. Forget about Disney, because Disney, when you factor in all the Disney properties, it averages out kind of meh. But if you look at Marvel Studios, they have been knocking out hit after hit after hit for 20 plus films. They have not, even though Captain Marvel was probably their weakest film, they have not made a bad film. And there's no studio that you could possibly say out of 20 films, no bad ones. And I think that basically these other studios, it's the same fallacy that people have about all big companies. They think that, oh, well, look at all this money they've made, so they can just give us $10 billion, no big deal, right? Because they just have nothing but money. They don't have to pay all their people, and they don't have any expenses or anything.
And one thing the article did overlook, and what's brought up in Andre's latest video, which if you guys haven't seen it, I do recommend it, is that the whole 50-50 thing came because Sony hadn't said shit to them for 6 months. Like, they literally gave them the cold shoulder for 6 months, and so Disney's like, all right, fine, we're going to make them a deal they can't refuse, or they're going to refuse it and it's over with. And where the 50-50 thing came in is like, look, we'll pay for 50-50 of the movies. Like, they'll pay for 50% of the production, and that means all the movies, not just Spider-Man, all of them, and we'll bring them all into the MCU. Now, when you hear that at first, you think, oh, Disney's being greedy. No. That's Marvel saying, we're going to protect your ass, and we're going to guarantee you nothing but billion-dollar movies for the next 10 years. Just work with us.
You might as well just say, hey, you know what? I got a money printing press here. You want it?
Because, now you're going to have the issue where some people are confused. Is this MCU or not? And, a lot of us geeks know it's not, but you're still that's what Sony's plan was from the start, was to confuse the audience.
And what's going to happen, though, is that as Sony takes over these movies and it deteriorates, then people, basically they're gonna ruin the Spider-Man brand. Now, hopefully, the MCU, assuming the MCU doesn't go woke, they can do enough to try and build a separation so that people will realize it. But the problem is with Spider-Man appearing in 2 Avengers films, it's assuming they keep Tom Holland as Spider-Man, nobody's gonna be able to figure it out except for the
and that's what they're doing, yeah.
Correct.
And this does kind of, I don't understand this move by Sony on for some parts, because this does hinder their very lucrative Spider-Verse. Yeah. Because they technically can't make the TV shows that they announce now if they don't go through with this deal, because Disney owns the TV rights. So I don't know how they're planning on working this out. This could still be worked out in the end.
In fact, you know what I would love to see Marvel Studios do right now, to be honest with you? If I seriously would, this would just give me so much joy, would be if on Disney Plus they got Tom Holland in a Spider-Man series.
See, and that's the thing I wonder, because there's a few discrepancies in the TV rights. See, now supposedly Sony can make any TV show that's a 45-minute drama type TV show live action, but they can't do anything else. So I don't know if Disney could squeeze in there a little half-hour thing. Because I thought, see, here's the thing: when I first heard about Loki and the other shows that were coming out from my source, they also had Spider-Man lumped in there. They're like, yeah, they got Tom Holland down for a Spider-Man series. I'm like, really?
That would work for him, like a half-hour sort of high school comedy sort of thing. Yeah.
I could absolutely see that. And I would love to see them, and the show should just be called F You Sony.
Like, screw you, Sony. We're making a half-hour comedy. So there, nooner.
Yeah, like Black people. You got Arachnid Dude.
And every episode, the opening credits have Peter Parker like digging through the garbage and finding a Sony camcorder and then looking at it, throwing it away, and then pissing on it or something. That's
I don't know if this is just coincidence, but I was on PlayStation.com a second ago, and they have actually right on the first page you open, Spider-Man Game of the Year edition. That's probably just a coincidence. I don't think that has anything to do with the timing of this deal.
It's sort of the hot news right now is Spider-Man. So
right,
yeah.
And it's just the thing that really irks me about this whole thing, though, is how great Spider-Man has been for the last 5 films he's been in. And that I've absolutely fallen in love with Spider-Man all over again. So did my Mrs. Auntie Trekker, my daughter, who she's 24, and she absolutely fell in love with Tom Holland Spider-Man. He is, and my 19-year-old son absolutely loves Tom Holland Spider-Man. And they're just, and the thing is that they finally found a take on Spider-Man that isn't the same old Uncle Ben, great power, great responsibility lines that we've seen 100 times before, with the Tony Stark mentor role, and now with Spider-Man having to step up and being a man since Tony's gone. That was like the Uncle Ben story taken to the 10th level, and it's so freaking good. And now it's just gone, because even if they keep Tom Holland as Spider-Man, they can never mention Tony Stark again. And so the thing that made Spider-Man great in the MCU is done.
Pretty much. And that's what I've been saying is like, even those were like, good. I didn't like, Spider-Boy. It's like, yeah, but Spider-Boy's not going anywhere.
And Spider-Boy's what it's supposed to be, people. Peter Parker is supposed to be a freaking kid. The smartest thing they did was to hire a teenager to play a teenager. And I know that's mind-blowing. But
well, and I've used that argument, too, because a lot of people are like, I don't like Spider-Boy. I like seeing a Spider-Man. It's like, yeah, but we already got fucking, 5 movies of Spider-Man. We've literally seen him in high school to this point for a total of 45 minutes, I think. It's like, because he was in high school in the first movie for a little bit, and then, I don't remember, was he even still in high school?
Midway through the film, yeah.
Yeah, and was he even still in high school for, like, the same kind of thing in The Amazing Spider-Man, and then he graduated midway through again, or something like that? Yeah, so
he was the creepy loner, with his head down, and basically the Edward Cullen type of character.
Oh, God. See, I'm glad I skipped those. Those didn't look good.
I actually liked Andrew Garfield, but not nearly the level of Tom Holland. Tom Holland, he's so perfectly encapsulated Peter Parker, and I'll tell you, I was really looking forward to seeing his budding friendship with Johnny Storm in the MCU. You know, I was there was so much that I was really excited about seeing, and you know, I was excited about seeing, okay, as Tom Holland gets older, make Spider-Man a more mature character. Then you bring in Miles Morales and Spider-Man becomes the mentor of Ultimate Spider-Man.
As I call him, Spider Douche. So
yeah.
Well, you know, and I mean, most of the versions of Spider-Man, I know he's in high school, but I mean, I understand where people are coming from, and I knew something was wrong with the Amazing movies when Kevin Smith, of all people, was the one who was making fun of them. When Kevin Smith is making fun of your movie, then there's something wrong, because that guy loves everything.
My problem with Amazing Spider-Man as a franchise was that they made Peter Parker hip.
Yeah.
And Peter Parker is supposed to be, he's one of us, the nerd community, the outcast, the person that gets beaten up behind the blackboards or whatever. And, you know, he was never the cool kid, and they made him the cool kid. And that was the big mistake. Now, I liked the way that he played Spider-Man. I just didn't like the way he played Peter Parker. I think Tobey Maguire was a better Peter Parker.
Yeah, in the end, though, I like Tom Holland best. I know people are going to for that.
Tom Holland blows them both away.
And I mean, I like how they updated the whole world around him, even though it was kind of mandated by Sony. I still, in the end, understood parts of it. Like, you know, I've said it before. Yeah, nowadays being a nerd is cool. It's not like it was back in the 60s when Spider-Man was created and Peter Parker was this geek. You know, he's not the same character anymore. It's cool to be, you know, smart now. So of course he's going to have a lot of friends, and I like how they flip-flopped MJ to where she's obsessed with him instead of him being obsessed with her. I know it's not Mary Jane, but you know what I mean. Same story there, kind of, though, to where she's obsessed with him. But you know, yeah, Kevin Smith, they brought up. I love Kevin Smith. I do. I love him so much. But when he said flat out, he's like, you know, Amazing Spider-Man's okay, but I didn't realize how much Spider-Man needed. He was on the cell phone all the time in the movie. And I was like, he's right. I watched the movie after he said that. And it's like, it's all he is. He's on his cell phone constantly. Like, I mean, he's on his cell phone a few times in Homecoming and stuff as a joke. And they play it out in a joke. But like an Amazing Spider-Man, every other scene, he's on his phone. He's sitting there in his spider outfit on his phone. He's sitting there in the subway on his phone. He's sitting there on the bus or whatever. He's constantly on his phone.
They're constantly on their phone. That's what they figured kids do.
Right.
You know,
it doesn't make a good movie though.
But yeah, I was gonna say, in fairness, yes, kids are on their phone all the time. You know, like I said, my daughter's 24, and when we visit her, it's like, this is what I see her do.
But yeah, I think that was the joke Kevin Smith made, is like it should have been called Spider-Man and his cell phone or something like that.
Right.
But yeah.
But and the thing is that I don't care, you know, yeah, that's what kids do. But again, just like we were talking about the Joker earlier, I don't go to movies to see what I can watch my daughter do in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Right? You go for escape from reality. Yeah.
Right. And so I'm not interested in watching. You know, people say, well, you know, like with The Last Jedi, well, it's realistic that Luke would become. I don't want it to. It's wizards and laser swords. I don't need realism. You know.
Well, and I've said how to fix The Last Jedi. You don't have to fix who Luke is in throughout the movie. Just at the end, have him show up like the hero should, and not just a fucking illusion.
Right.
You know, there's a reason why he's looking at that X-wing in the water. That should have been your setup for him later on, pulling the X-wing out and coming to save the day.
Right.
Yeah, that they really missed an opportunity on that.
Well, I think you see, the thing is that I don't think they missed an opportunity. I think Rian Johnson did that intentionally.
Yeah, he chose.
He did. Yeah.
He put the X-wing there deliberately to make you think that he was going to show up as the hero at the end, and then he said, "But I'm going to subvert your expectations because that's cool." No, it's not.
It made no sense. It's still
subverting expectations is cool if you do something better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things actually, back to the Amazing Spider-Man for a second. You know what was one of the things that brought me out of the movie is when he shows up Flash Thompson at basketball practice in full of like maybe like 20 or 30 people. I'm like, if everybody's on their cell phone these days, like kids are, don't you think one of them would have it out? Dude, check it out. Parker's gonna get his ass kicked, and that video will be on YouTube. And then, dude, I think Parker's Spider-Man. You know?
Oh yeah. Peter absolutely should have been outed as Spider-Man as soon as he took on Flash.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the problem. That's the whole thing, though, is that movies have to, if they can't write well, then they just have to make everybody stupid.
Kurtzman wrote the whole thing, didn't he?
I think in the Amazing Spider-Man, I think he had help, but yeah. Was he still writing with Ortsy then? I think he was still working with Ortsy then.
Kurtzman needing help? That's unheard of.
Well, I blame a lot of what happened to movies on J.J. Abrams and what's his face, Sixth Sense, and M. Night Shyamalan, because they started this thing where every movie has to have a twist, every movie has to have has to subvert your expectations somehow. It's like not every movie has to be that way. It can be an ABC movie. We don't have Star Wars is an ABC movie. Everything in that movie, you know what's going to happen. Yeah, there's tension in it and stuff like that, but it's pretty self-explanatory as you go through it. You don't expect the bad guys to win, right? What movie do you walk into expecting the bad guys to win? Nobody ever does. So, of course, most movies are going to be an ABC movie. You know what you're going to get, but it's how it's handled. It's how the action is, how the actors handle the story, how the story progresses. I've anybody who's seen that how Star Wars was fixed in the edit.
Yeah,
I guarantee, or I recommend that because I guarantee most movies are like that. Every movie you hear about, there was a 3-hour cut of, I want to see that. No, you don't, because I guarantee you it was garbage. I'm one of those who's not a huge fan of extended cuts after the fact. Like, unless a director comes out and says, this is the version I wanted to make and the studio cut it down, usually the movie is garbage if it's an extended cut. And there's a reason for that. It's because all this shit was cut out for a reason. Well, garbage.
99% of the time I would agree with you, although the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2.
That's a different story altogether. That's what I'm saying. That's a totally different situation. I'm talking about when we used to get, like, during the heyday of DVD, every movie got an unrated version.
Right. But unrated just meant there was 15 seconds of footage that wasn't theatrical
and
release.
those are stupid, and I'm not a big fan of some of the longer versions. Like, I hate the unrated version of Dumb and Dumber. I hate some of the other unrated versions that are out there that are considered the extended cuts. Unless it's a director's approved cut, it's usually shit. That's my experience on that.
You know something? I'm sorry, Anti-Trekker.
No, that's right.
You know something? I said to a friend of mine, he goes, I can't stand all this millennial garbage lately, that you have all the stuff pandering to millennials. They think, and he said to me, well, isn't us generation Gen Xers, aren't we the ones that are making all this millennial garbage? I'm gonna say, yeah, but here's the thing. We're trying to second guess everybody. We're not taking what we learned, and we're not trying to build on that. We're just trying to second guess. And the other thing is, like, the whole thing about Frank Zappa and the hip young executives who come in and say, no, we can't do that. I had a writing teacher way back when. This is 1991, when I was at that so-called state university that I was at. He said to me two things that I remember that I just thought were the most idiotic things, and maybe he was a writing teacher for Rian Johnson at the same time. He said that plot is irrelevant, and this is a writing teacher telling me this. Mm-hmm. Plot is irrelevant, and he hated The Natural, the Robert Redford movie, The Natural. And I said, wait a minute, plot is irrelevant. First of all, I always thought plot was the most important thing. No, it's just the interaction between characters. Yeah, but that's what drives the plot. Oh no, but you just need the characters to interact. Plot can be about anything. I said, yeah, but without, and I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I said, wait, what about The Natural? He goes, oh, I just can't stand that Robert Redford hits a home run and wins the game and everything. I said, yeah, but isn't that what you want to see?
Right.
You want to see Robert Redford hit a home run. You want to see Luke blow up the Death Star. You want to see the Emperor defeated, thrown down the reactor.
You want to see a bunch of losers. That's why Star Trek Discovery sucks. Yeah. The losers do a whole bunch of stupid shit.
And you want to see Chief Brody kill the shark. I mean, those are all things you want to see.
I swear, people here's the thing where people, and we said this the other day when we were talking Star Wars, people always misremember, or they misquote things from the era of when Empire Strikes Back by saying, oh, people didn't like Empire Strikes Back when it came out. That's not true. A lot of people were upset for various reasons. One, they were upset because it was like half a movie. You didn't get to finish. And at that point, people weren't used to there's a third movie coming. Don't worry. They didn't.
Yeah, there was no such thing as a cliffhanger movie when Empire came out.
So a lot of people were like upset that they felt like they didn't get the whole movie. There was a lot of people who were upset that it was a down ending. The bad guys won. Like, if you watch Empire and you really just watch it by itself, it doesn't work on its own. I love that movie and it's a great movie, but that's one of the reasons why I've had to kind of bring it back as far as my favorite movies of all time, because unlike Star Wars, it doesn't work on its own. Right. You have to have the first film for it to work. So that is another problem. The third problem was people just didn't believe the ending and they were upset that Vader said that he was that was the other thing. It wasn't so much they hated the movie. They were just upset at the idea that, oh my God, this guy cannot be Vader's father. So there's all this debate. So there's a difference there between that and when we get a situation like now where every movie's a downer, every movie's dark, every movie's dour, every movie's, about these horrible people doing horrible things and we're supposed to feel sorry for them, like the whole Joker thing we were just talking about. Venom was an okay movie, but I'd rather have Venom be Spider-Man's, nemesis, not on his own as the anti-hero.
And the thing is that especially with the way the MCU is going, I was so excited about the possibility of a Secret Wars and getting the black suit the way he got it in Secret Wars. That's what I was hoping they were going to do eventually, but obviously that didn't happen. But one thing you were saying a minute ago, that it's like about plot being unimportant, it's like there are three elements to good writing, right? There's plot, story, and characters. And in the modern world, none of that matters. The only thing they care about is spectacle. That can you get butts in the seats by showing them something that they supposedly hadn't seen before, be it a new visual effect or, hey, dinosaurs walking around doing stuff or whatever it is, that is it something people haven't seen that'll get butts in seats. And the problem is that this summer we've had plenty of spectacle, not a lot of box office, because we've gotten to a point in cinema, and Hollywood doesn't understand this, but we've gotten to a point in cinema where given $150, $200 million budget, you can literally produce anything you can imagine. There is no such thing as something that cannot be done on film anymore. And because of that, spectacle doesn't matter, because anybody can give you spectacle. If you don't have a story, if you don't have characters, and you don't have a plot, then you will fail. And that's what we're seeing right now.
And it's just like Michael Jackson. Yeah, Michael Jackson was a king of pop, not because he was a great performer. Yeah, he's a great performer, but the music had to be good too. It wasn't about just the dancing and the spectacle.
No, his music
kind of the same thing. That's the same thing here.
Yeah, the Thriller album, man, that was unbelievably good. Every song on that album was a good song. And I remember, I'm sure you remember back in the 80s, I don't listen to current pop music, so I don't even know what it's like nowadays. But, every album, you'd get, I love Men at Work, right? And then you get the album and you're like, there's 3 songs that you really like and the rest is crap, right?
Yeah.
But the Thriller album was the exception because Michael Jackson knew how to make great music and he did it song after song after song.
But yeah, that's my point, is if the music didn't fit his spectacle, then it wouldn't mean shit. Right. And even George Lucas himself was the first person to say a special effect is nothing without a story. And then this is the same guy who made the prequels. I know. And then this, and it's just like when he went to, I figured out why he went to Congress to fight for the rights of the directors, so nobody could fuck with his special editions. That's what he had in his pocket. He wasn't worried about other directors. He just wanted to make sure that nobody messed with his shit down the road. That's all.
Well, about the spectacle, even before like Michael Jackson, it was David Bowie was kind of the same thing. It was an elaborate stage show, but the music was still really fucking good. Pardon my language.
And the thing
Pink
is,
Floyd, same thing, yeah.
But then you look at movies that are known for groundbreaking spectacle, right? Movies like 1977 Star Wars, movies like
Jurassic Park,
Terminator 2. But go back and watch those movies. The spectacle isn't really that impressive, especially like Terminator 2. Most people don't realize that the groundbreaking CG animation, that's like 5 shots in the entire film.
And not only that, it wasn't brand new, even though they claimed it was the same exact technology they used in Flight of the Navigator like 5 years earlier.
And one thing that I still think is hilarious to this day, and it's one of those things where you never notice it, but once you notice it, you can't not notice it when you watch the film, is there is a shot when the T-1000 and the T-800 are fighting in the foundry in the climax of the film, and Arnold throws the guy across the room, and you can see, if you pause it or you watch it in slow-mo, you can see that it's just a dude wrapped in tinfoil. It is literally a guy wearing clothes that are lined with tinfoil.
Yeah, there's a lot of shots where people think it's CGI and it's not. Yeah.
It was absolutely horrible looking, but because of the way, James Cameron's a great filmmaker, he knew how to shoot and cut it and make it good. And then they put in just enough of those CG shots to make you go, whoo, that thing is scary. But the spectacle of Terminator 2 was really just a really great story supported by a visual that you hadn't seen before. And Star Wars, if you look at the visual effects in Star Wars from 1977, I'm sorry, but the visual effects in 2001: A Space Odyssey from 1968 are better, significantly better. But the Star Wars was the thing that was groundbreaking about Star Wars was the camera movement, the motion control camera that George Lucas came up with to make it feel like you were flying through space. In 2001, it was much more realistic as far as the way the Discovery moved, but definitely not exciting. Star Wars was the first exciting space battle we'd ever seen.
Yeah, it made spaceships move through space how you thought they would move.
Right. But if you actually look at the ships and you look at the effects of the blasters and the effects of the explosions, it's horrible looking. It's laughable. You can tell, like when I think it's like Porkins or whoever, when their ship blows up, you can tell it's an X-wing fighter that's maybe 8 inches long with a firecracker rammed up the back. You can absolutely
just slow
tell.
down,
yeah. But it's still. But the story is so good, you're so emotionally involved that you don't care. You just want to see the Death Star blow up before they kill all the rebels. Never mind the fact that you don't stop to think about you just watched a morbidly obese guy named Porkins as a fighter pilot. But,
Porkins' lives matter.
Yes.
I remember my brother and I just having a laugh when he goes, "I'm all right, all right."
Yeah. nah, I'm all right. It's like, what fighter pilot's like, got a problem here? Eject. Nah, I'm all right.
And I'm still convinced, that the movie was made in the edit and all the and as great of a creator as George Lucas is, I still stand by that the prequels are glaring, examples of why George Lucas should have just stepped away from the start. And the prequels show how bad the movies could have been had he really, really had his say over Star Wars and Empire, because Empire was even recut a few times. There was the famous George Lucas cut of Empire that died. It did a horrible reaction from the audience at a test screening, and it got recut again and again, and finally it was tuned down to what it was. And that's the thing, like, you look at the trench run in Star Wars, is a perfect example. The way it was originally edited, they do 3 runs. Luke misses on his first run, and then he goes back again. And Han never shows up. There's no tension because they're not on their way. In the original cut, they weren't on their way to destroy the Rebel base. They were just out in space. So you just had a bunch of teenagers come out and blow up the Death Star for no good reason and kill a bunch of people, basically.
Isn't that the basis for like that new Star Trek series about lawless teens in space? Yeah. It sounds like.
God.
So then Marsha Lucas recut it to where, and this was the scene she recut, I guess, and she recut it to where, in with other interstitial shit and voiceovers, and made it to where the Rebel base was going to be blown up if they didn't get they didn't stop the Death Star in a certain amount of time.
Right,
they cut out they cut out the first trench run. They cut it down to where and then they cut in Han Solo showing up and all this other extra shit, and it just worked perfectly in this crescendo and the way it cut together, and it just shows you how important editing is. And like you said, Star Wars was a movie, nothing was ever edited like that before, and it wasn't because of an artistic choice, it was because the fucking movie was a mess.
Right.
Yeah. I remember back then, I remember when I saw it in the theaters, though, when Han Solo shows up, everybody cheered. Like everybody in the theater, people erupted in cheering and applause.
Yes.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah, because we thought Han Solo had just left him and was done.
Yeah. The closest thing I have to that in a modern movie is when Cap picks up Mjolnir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny thing is that now, of course, if someone sees Solo a Star Wars story, then
Oh boy.
that ruins that moment, because if you see that moment at the end of the Death Star battle, then of course Han Solo comes back, because that's what he does.
I know, and I said that too. That was one of the first things I said, wasn't it, Rob? They basically gave him the same exact arc he had in Star Wars and ruin who he is. We should have been left with a Han who's bitter, who's an asshole, who's a dick, who hates other people, and is only out for himself and Chewie, and that's it. Because that's the Han we meet in several years down the road. So that's the Han we should have had.
If anything, Han Solo should have been the villain of Solo.
Mm-hmm.
And not the hero. He should have been a criminal being chased down. He's a freaking smuggler, but they don't understand their own.
He's
lore.
A pirate.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, and today is the perfect time they can do that too. You can, of course, I don't know, maybe they didn't want to because it would piss off the Phantom Menace or something who didn't end up seeing the movie anyway. But they have that agenda nowadays where he's a white man, therefore he's the bad one. It's like they could have done that, and it probably would have been the one instance that they could have gotten away with it, and it would have been fine because that's who he was.
And they would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids.
I know.
And I feel sorry for Ron Howard.
I know. Just gonna say poor Ron Howard.
We talked. Did you tell Anti-Trekker about who we talked to in Star Trek Las Vegas?
No, I didn't, but I don't know if you've heard. Well, we hung out with Clint Howard for quite a while.
Yeah, I hate you guys.
But he was actually telling us that Ron felt there was some sort of concerted effort though to tank Solo. He goes, no.
I'll say this about Clint Howard. To this day, every time, like if I'm sitting down with my wife, if we're having breakfast or whatever, anytime I have orange juice, I have to go.
Clint Howard is one of the most amazing human beings ever. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, he was awesome.
And see that shirt in my avatar there? That is the shirt that prompted our the hanging out with him.
Oh, cool.
He's a huge Cheap Trick fan. So actually was about it was a few minutes after I took that picture that we met up with him, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
No, it was the next day because you guys had to go back and get autographs the next day then, and then we ended up hanging out like that whole Friday afternoon.
Did you wear your Cheap Trick shirt twice?
No, he didn't. It wasn't twice. That
he just never took it off.
Yeah, because that second day. Well, that second day he was wearing the Cyberfrog shirt because that was the day we went to the Millennium Fandom.
Yeah. Yeah,
but yeah,
did you change or what?
No, well, that was the Thursday when you guys got the picture, and then that was Friday when we hung out.
Yeah, that part. Yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about the day of the picture.
When I wear something, I have to use every last molecule available. That's before I. Yeah, but while we kind of brushed up upon Star Trek though. I gotta Anti-Trekker, you're the Anti-Trekker, so we kind of have to. We touched on a few things. I mean, what do you honestly? Are your feelings about Picard changed at all, or what do you? Give us your opinion, though. I mean,
for Picard, honestly, with the Picard show, I see it a lot like I see the Joker film. It looks like a very well-made show that has nothing to do with Star Trek. And it's unfortunate that Patrick Stewart is in it because it should feel like Star Trek. The only thing I did like a 30-minute video breaking down the Picard trailer. And the thing is that the only thing I could see that really felt like Trek were the glimpse of the uniforms you see when he's at Starfleet Command, and the Borg cube, right? Other than that, nothing about that trailer feels like Star Trek. You have, space ninja girl throwing people around. You have, a ship that looks like it's a cross between Mass Effect and The Expanse. You have nothing about it is Trek. It just what's wrong with these people? Making Trek is not that difficult. It's just that they want desperately, for whatever reason, to make it something new. And it's like, something new is going to put you in bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
How about you just produce something good?
Yeah, they're constantly trying to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
And
especially if you're bringing back an iconic character like Picard. If it would not be that difficult. In fact, we on one of my live streams, we talked about, well, what would you do with a Star Trek show? It's very simple. You have it take place after the destruction of Romulus. You have the Klingon Empire seeing that, smelling blood in the water because the Romulan Empire has been all but destroyed. And the Federation is going, oh, crap, we can't let that happen. And then Picard, if you're going to have a show centered around Picard, you make him Ambassador Picard, and you follow him and his attempts to get peace between the Klingons and the Romulans. And I think that could work. But this show looks like he's not even in the Federation. He's like, he hooked up with the gang from Serenity, and
exactly.
And for some reason, he's on what looks like a Romulan ship. Just, I'm blown away by how much they missed the boat.
Yes.
Yes.
And for those who wanted to see it, there's our picture we got taken with Clint.
Yeah, I hate you.
Sorry.
And if you can't read it, he wrote, "Keep it edgy."
Get it? Midnight's Edge, edgy.
Yeah, he's good. He's a great guy, though, Clint Howard. But yeah, dune buggies. I don't think we're expecting to see a lot of dune buggies in the Picard.
Where?
Yeah, where's the Argo?
But again, I'm the other thing I'm tired of is this broken hero trope.
Mm-hmm.
He's a broken hero. Oh, what happened to you? Why did you leave Starfleet? What I'm tired of this whole broken hero. Luke Skywalker's a broken hero. Everybody's a broken hero. I mean, no, the heroes put things right, as how we say.
Stop breaking my heroes. They're fine.
Yes. You don't need to break. Yeah, you don't need to break Luke Skywalker. You don't need to break Jean-Luc Picard. You don't need to break Spock. And the thing that pissed me off about Spock was that I actually really liked Ethan Peck's take on Spock until the last episode. And then it completely fell apart for me.
Talk about somebody who's full of themselves. Holy shit. The way he got treated at STLV, you would have thought he was Leonard Nimoy.
Really?
Oh, God. Wow. He was like, everybody was like, he was one of those that was the special expensive ones and all. It's like, really? He's that big? I don't get it.
For his autograph or something like that, right?
Yeah, he was one of the ones back with like Shatner and shit. It's like, why is he so special?
And Mr. Miles in the chat was saying that, we still have the Orville, and that's true. But the problem is that, I mean, the Orville, and I'm sure that you guys would all agree, the Orville is really the only good Star Trek show on the air right now.
Oh yeah.
But its only real problem is it's not Star Trek.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And it can't be for obvious reasons. But
is that the $6 million man?
Yes, I'm sorry. That's my alert tone is the $6 million man. My ringtone, by the way, is William Shatner's rendition of Slim Shady from Futurama.
I used to have when I would get a text, it was the tricorder noise. The
would
look at me all the time.
Yeah, mine. I just got for the first time a smartphone. My incoming message tone is actually Worf saying incoming message. So
we got a $5 super chat, Rob.
Yes, $5 from Mr. Wolverine 007. Special request before you guys sign off. Ask Anti-Trekker for number 23. I guess that's an in joke.
No, it's actually something I do on my live streams. Is that whenever somebody gives a super chat, I have about 40 or so animations and sketches and stuff, and then people can pick different ones based on the level of super chat. So like for a $1 super chat, there's like 27 of them. For a $5 super chat, there's like 15 of them, etc. So number 23 is the single most popular super chat animation that I have for good reason.
Is that the one with the dancing?
Yes. And so
one.
Now I don't know for sure if the audio will carry through, but I can play it right now.
You can share audio when you do a screen share.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm going through, like, my webcam
Okay.
is XSplit, and so, but I don't think well, how do I do a screen share then?
There's a little button that says like share screen next to Leaf Studio down on the bottom next to settings, and then there's a little thing you can check.
Down at the bottom next to settings. Sorry,
Yeah,
I have never used this interface before, so bear with me.
We found out that oh crap, they have audio share. You can add your pictures and stuff now. It's great.
All right, so share screen. Just say yeah. Okay, don't show the tips. But which screen is it going to share?
Whichever monitor you have it on, probably, or I think they have an application.
Oh, okay. Actually, it gives me the choice. Good. So I'll select screen 2. All right. So, but now you're saying the share screen will share the screen audio as well?
Yeah, as long as you check the audio one.
Yeah, in the left-hand bottom corner, it says
you had to do it when you were sharing your screen. You might have to
so let me stop and
Yeah.
then hit it again. Oh, yeah, I see that now. Share audio. All right. So share. All right. So this is Super Chat number 23.
I love that.
I do love the Spinny Spock.
Yeah, I've seen Spinny Spock before.
I think the first time I saw him, I spat whenever I was drinking.
Nice.
The day disco died.
Nice.
That's good. I love that one. That's a good one.
That was good. Very good, sir. Very good.
So yeah, that's just something we do on my live streams. It's a lot of fun. But my son Joshua does those animations, and he does an incredible job. So,
actually, no, Mecca, you need the maybe have your son do one intro animation for Mecca. She needs something.
I need something. I don't know. I need some little pop up or something that I can put in front, and I need like a new end card. I got a lot of stuff coming to my channel. We'll see. We'll see what I need.
Well, talk to me one of these days, Mecca. I mean, I'm sure he'd be. We just got to make it so that he can understand what you're after.
Yeah, and I don't know what I'm after. I wouldn't want to just push it off on somebody. That's the thing too.
Yes, but Spinning Spock has become something of a phenomenon on my channel.
He's great.
Yeah.
It is great. It's unique. Yeah, I love that.
In fact, just so you know, guys, the new Super Chat animation that Joshua's working on, Spinning Spock, will have a cameo in it. But
good.
So anyway, all right. I don't know what's more. Tom, what do you think? We wrap it up here. Is as good place as any.
And Tom fell asleep.
Yeah, I do that to people. Tom. Thomas.
There was that little bit of Disney news. If you want to scroll all the way back in the private chat. But
what's the Disney news? Hold on, Mr.
I'll just repost it, so you don't have to scroll.
Yeah, I hate scrolling. It's from CNBC, almost legitimate news source.
Hey, look at real news source.
Let me see what we got here. Oh yeah, I saw this. This is actually pretty funny.
I know, right?
So people are paying out the wazoo to get into Galaxy's Edge already. So, and you pay a ton of money, a buttload of money for souvenirs. So you figure you want something cheap to take home with you. So they had Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola company, design Coca-Cola bottles that look like thermal detonators. Well, it turns out the TSA won't let you get on a plane with them because they look too much like real grenades.
They won't really let you bring on like plastic bottles anyway, will they?
No, they won't. But still, this
it's because of what they look like instead of what's inside. I mean, you can bring a plastic bottle if it's empty, right?
Right. You just can't. Well, you can actually bring a bottle of liquid if it's sealed. If it's still like if you have a factory sealed bottle of something, you can bring it. Or if it's less than like 2 ounces.
Yeah, it's 3 ounces.
3 ounces. Yeah. But an open container is absolutely forbidden if it has liquid in it.
Yeah. You got to drink that in a hurry. Yeah. TSA will not permit stylized Coke bottles from Galaxy's Edge on flights. Souvenir has been banned because it looks like a replica of an explosive. Travelers who visit the planet Batu.
I want to see it. Is there a picture of this thing?
Yeah. Tom, scroll up on that a little bit. Whoever's sharing.
Yeah, we're down on the. It's down on the article there.
There you go.
So they're saying that looks like an explosive.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you. Now, I was in the United States Army. That does not look like a grenade. That looks like a freaking Christmas ornament.
Mm.
But whatever.
Oh well.
It's probably the lid more than anything.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sorry, but
They do. People are like hollowing those out and making them as Christmas ornaments. They're cute.
Well, they're not bad looking, but when I look at that, if I think that a TSA agent can't tell the difference between that and a grenade, what the hell are they doing being a TSA agent?
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Coca-Cola.
You can tell that you have Coke and Sprite, even though the Sprite is in an alien language. You can tell that's Sprite. You know
Exactly.
So nothing about that looks like a grenade. TSA, stop being stub.
Who wants to spend $10 on one of those anyway?
Well, those are only $5.
Oh.
Because your alternative is the $40, Yub Nub Ewok souvenir drink.
What's the one on the end, the blue one?
That's the
That's
Sony
just
water.
water. Yeah.
Looks like it should be Romulan ale.
It should be.
Yeah.
Romulan ale. Bones, you know this is illegal, don't you?
I only use it for medicinal purposes. I got a border ship brings me some across the neutral zone.
Ooh, the captain is getting drunk again. Oh my. Okay. As Disney prepares to open its Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Park in Orlando, Florida, on Thursday, TSA is cracking down on one of its most collectible items. It's $5 Coke bottles. There are more than 1,000 unique items that parkgoers can purchase at Galaxy's Edge, and one of the most popular and cheapest is the bottles of Diet Coke, Coke, and Sprite that have been stylized to fit in the world of Batuu. The sodas are reminiscent of thermal detonators from Star Wars films, and feature the name of each brand in Aurebesh, whatever it is, in Star Wars language.
Alien,
yeah. Fans became enamored with these plastic bottles even before the California iteration of Galaxy's Edge opened in May. Many have collected the bottles and brought them home from the park to display on shelves, or in some cases, turned into Christmas tree ornaments. There you go. However, Transportation Safety Security Administration has banned the souvenir from flights because it looks like an explosive. And there's a tweet. I know these look dodgy, but can they be packaged in a suitcase? Thanks, TSA. Thanks for asking. Replica and inert explosives aren't allowed in either carry-on or checked bags.
Get back to yourself.
It's a Coke bottle.
Yes.
Well, and to be fair, I do remember a few people running into the same problem at Star Trek Las Vegas. They bought some replica weapons, and they knew right away they couldn't bring them on the plane, so they just shipped them back to themselves with FedEx.
Well, but the thing is that I can understand if someone, I don't think I have any of my weapons around me right now, but like if you have something that looks like an actual, like you buy a batleth or something, okay, fine, that looks like something you would kill somebody with, and so I would have no problem with them saying, no, you got to ship that back. These look like freaking, you remember I think there's some energy drink that tried to do their energy drinks to look like health potions from RPGs.
I have some,
yeah, that's what that looks like.
Oh yeah, I've got some. Actually, I'll be right back. It's booze, but it looks like a potion.
Yeah. Well, booze is a potion in a way. It's magical.
Are there FedEx? There should be FedEx places in airports just in case.
There's probably one right in Disneyland.
Probably. There was one at the hotel at the Rio.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Gary was getting stuff printed up there too. But yeah, so this is kind of dumb. Okay.
Yeah, Captain Morgan's looks like a little potion bottle. It's just round. Well, because it's got a normal cap. Is that why?
That's an explosive, Mecca. You can't tell the difference between that
that's what
and a grenade.
Said. I said I think the cap is the bigger problem than
it's
the
even
actual
got
bottle.
A death label on. No, come on, that has a freaking death label on it. That is obviously a poison gas grenade.
That's only a poison gas grenade if your boy's bad enough.
It is empty too, but yeah, and you can pull out the label and then you can like paint it up for potions or something. But
put like 3 X's on it. Fans were quick to ask if removing the cap from the bottle and transporting them separately would allow them to bring the bottles on flights or stow in their luggage. However, TSA was quick to squash that loophole. Even with the normal bottle cap, this item is still considered a replica and is not allowed in carry-on or checked bags. A tweet from the account said Tuesday, if our officers discover the replica item during screening and believes it's real, the item will be treated as such until
Do they not know what a replica is? I mean, look, this is a replica of Dr. Doom's mask, right? I made this myself. This is an actual replica of a mask, right? That is a Coke bottle. It doesn't look like a grenade. It doesn't look, and you know what? It might have the same general shape as a thermal detonator, but it doesn't look like a thermal detonator.
I hate to break it to people, but thermal detonators aren't real.
Yeah, that's the other point. Like, that's not even a real weapon. It's a replica of a fake weapon that looks like a Coke bottle.
I'm just waiting one of these days to be in the airport and hear the TSA go, "Watch out! He's got a phaser."
Well, actually, listen to this. Travelers who visit the planet of Batu are permitted to board flights with hand-built lightsabers and astromech droids sold at the Black Spire outpost. like you can't hide an explosive in a robot.
Right, like what Robert Pearson just said. If someone's really going to make a bomb, would they really make it look like a bomb?
Yeah. You walk. Could you imagine walking up with like the old 3 sticks of dynamite and an alarm clock?
Yeah, can I get a ticket to New York, please?
Oh, well, I think they would not. They wouldn't.
Remember
I mean, they're not supposed to joke because they're supposed to take it seriously because they're.
Remember Airplane 2 and Sonny Bono was at the airport? Yeah, I'll take a bag of M&Ms, newspaper, the second time bomb on the left.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so it's on the right. You're right, Bird of Prey 5. Yeah, this is, yeah.
No, Bird of Prey is never right, just so you know.
Okay, whatever. Oh, okay.
Well, I only say that because, I mean, we know and love Bird of Prey, but he's like this far left kind of nutcase. He's communist.
Well, I don't begrudge people. I don't begrudge people of their beliefs.
No. He's a nice guy. He's just misled a bit.
Yeah. I always say I disagree with as much. I'm a fan of Ethan Van Sciver. I disagree with him on a lot of things politically, but I still find him entertaining. You know,
and actually, I'm just messing. Joe, Bird of Prey 5 is actually a really great guy.
Yeah,
and you guys should have him on sometime. He's actually a lot of fun. He does live streams pretty much every day, and you honestly check out his channel. He's just a lot of fun to hang out with.
Yeah. Put him on the list, Tom. like we have a list.
Now, of course, no, I'm better than Bird, so you should have me on more often than him. But
you're. Well, yeah. Well, you're gonna.
Heck, we're gonna vote to replace Tom on Anti-Tracker.
Oh, thanks.
Well, Tom, I didn't fall asleep during the stream.
No, I had to go check and see what the hell my dog was barking at.
Get him, Sadie. Get him.
Well, she barks at her own shadow. So.
Okay. Did they talk? Yes, Mike Cat. We talked about the Joker at the top of the live stream.
Yeah, for about 45 minutes.
Yeah,
it was a good discussion.
It was a good discussion. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I look at. I don't know. Do we have anything else to cover?
I think we covered it all pretty well. I think we went longer than I expected us to.
See what's trending. That's politics ball.
Oh, what's your doggy's name?
Doggy.
You really want to know?
Absolutely.
Anti. ANTI.
Cool.
So she is the anti-dog.
I thought it was gonna be shithead.
No, actually, we she's a rescue, and her name from the people that had her before was Allie, and so I changed it to Auntie, and she's fine with that.
Yeah. Yeah,
and she's a proficient sleeper. The anti-cam is usually on during my live streams, and I'll be streaming for 2-3 hours, and that's what you see the whole time.
Yeah, anti-cam. That's actually that's good. Keep your watch hours up. And
I was about just streaming 24/7 of the dog, but YouTube terms of service might get me in trouble. So.
Oh, it's a cool dog. What kind of dog is she?
She's a beagle.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And, you can see she's very excited and alert. That's
for the guy I play trivia with every Tuesday has a pug named Mao, and the dog, and he just sleeps all day long. I mean, that's just gets up to poop, and that's about it. Poop and eat and sleep.
Yep.
Yep. The three legs of the stool. Poop, eat, and sleep.
So, Tom, not only did I not fall asleep during the stream, but to check on my dog, I just turn on the camera.
I don't have a baby cam for my big ass mutt. She rules the house. She's like almost as big as the house.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, I think that's a good place to wrap as any. So, all right. Hey, Anti-Trucker, great having you on. You got you got to come back whenever you want. You have an open door invitation.
All right. Well, then I'll just pencil that in every Wednesday. Got it. Right.
Oh, well, we'll have it back. We'll have it back. Any objections? No, put this to vote.
No, but like I said, we just usually have a lot of people lined up, so we'll have to make sure we don't have too many people on. That's all.
No, absolutely. So just hit you up on Twitter. And
yeah,
but Wednesday's usually my best day, so I'll probably just hit you up every Wednesday and see if you got a spot.
All
right, cool. Yeah, somebody wants me to Tom Rothman us out. Okay, we gonna wrap up now. Hello, Tom Rothman here.
Tom Rothman, greatest editor of all time.
I'm so happy I've got the Spider-Man back.
And Mr. Miles wants to point out that, you get the pleasure of his company when I'm here, so that makes it worthwhile. Not to mention, let's not forget the fact that about half of your super chats today were people making comments about me. So, that's just saying. I mean, Mecca, you may have the boobs, but for some reason they're super chatting the old guy. I don't know what the deal is.
Oh, that's because I yelled at them not to super chat while I'm here and just to do it for mine. No, because I'm greedy like that.
Yeah. All right. Okay, everybody. You like what we do? Like, subscribe here. Like, subscribe on the main channel. Click the bell icons. If you're subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube has a bad habit of unsubscribing people. If you really like what we do, check us out on Patreon, bloopers, outtakes, lost episodes, my 10-minute stand-up set, behind the edge making videos, and more. If you don't like Patreon, we have Subscribe Star. You don't like Subscribe Star, we have PayPal. Support the show directly. If you don't have the means to support us monetarily, please like, subscribe, share the videos because we cannot do this without you. Mecca, tell them about your channel.
I am Mecha Random 42, and I have a writing crop, so that's why you subscribe to me. Yeah, I've got the Star Wars news, Joker trailer stuff, all the things. I made a funny video about Rey's Nutcracker lightsaber the other day. And what did I make? Tomorrow, Mary Sue time.
Ripped Mary Sue a new one
because they deserve it.
Oh yeah, Anti-Trucker, tell about your channel and yourself.
Well, channel's just called my name, Anti-Trucker. We hang out a lot. We stream 6 days a week. I try to get videos out. It's been a rough patch, but that's a long story. But mostly talk about nerdy stuff, whether it's Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, whatever's going on, and just try to have fun. You can check out the channel. Go to antitrucker.com where we have a list of certified nerds. By the way, Mecca is on that list, as is a bunch of other people. So if you want to see some channels large and small that you may not have heard of, you should check it out. And just, we hang out, have a good time, and I'm a big piece of poop, apparently. And so, and actually, that's my thing. I have on Twitter, you can find me at Anti-Trucker, and it's #MePoo, MEPOO, because, and there's a philosophy behind it, is that we are all pieces of crap. And so don't take yourself too seriously because you're just as bad as the other person. So me.
That's right. So, okay. We'd like to thank the Anti-Trucker here for being with us tonight. We'd like to also remind you to check out Egotastic Fun Time, Professor Geek, check out the Burnett Work, check out Overlord DVD, check out The Fan Man, check out Comic Artist Pro Secrets, your boy Zach, Comics Matter. Check out a lot of people. We got a lot of people to thank. Who else?
That Umbrella Guy.
Yellow Flash, Mary Mayhem. Who else? Am I forgetting? I forget a lot of people. Because yeah. And if I've forgotten,
Hirohei.
Who?
Hirohei, I've been watching a lot of his channel lately.
Yes. Him. John
More
Talks.
Kick Vic's people. I stand with Vic people, covering the Vic Mignogna stuff.
Check out John Talks. Check out Proper Jeremy. And if I forget to mention you, please don't feel bad because I always forget to mention somebody. So
we could make up like a list of everybody to have before the show.
Yeah, like
it'd be
a
like
certified nerds list. You mean?
Yeah. And just
Yeah.
link it. And just link it in everything. Just copy and paste it for every stream.
Exactly. Yeah.
By the way, Bird of Prey, I hope that Midnight's Edge is on the certified nerds list. If it's not, it should be. But good.
Okay. Well,
Bird of Prey actually handles the website for me, so that's why I give him a hard time.
We'd like to thank every okay, yeah, and something just fell over here. Well, I'll fix that later. Yes, thank you everybody for joining us in the chat. Thank you for the super chats, and we will catch you next time.
I'm Krispy Kreme McDonald's. Do I have the finger?
I like big Asian butts, and I cannot lie.
I am about to tell you something that'll change the face of history.